Okay, awesome. We are starting. We are back with Shaar HaBitachon, and as I explained to a few people that asked me, it is a very big undertaking to do the entire Sefer. So we're gonna do it in chunks. So we have a few weeks between now and Purim that we're gonna do a few weeks, and then after that we're gonna see what's going on about Pesach, and then after that we're gonna see. So it's gonna take some time, and let's be understanding. But with Be'ezus Hashem, we're gonna finish it in the right time, exactly how Hashem wants it. Okay, so we left off. We are up to chapter 3, which is page 58 in our book, this brand new, beautiful Shaar HaBitachon book. So we're on page 58, and I actually want to start not inside the book. I want to share a beautiful story. So yes, I am reading everybody a kid's book, but I think it's a wonderful way to start our Shaar HaBitachon share. I actually even told that this is my kid's current favorite book right now, and I actually told them, I said, I read it to you for bedtime, and I'm about to read it for all the living Chassidus ladies for their bedtime. So just don't fall asleep. But the reason I'm bringing it up is that this author is actually really, really good friends with my sister-in-law. And she, cool. And she, my sister-in-law ordered a bunch of her books because she's a children's book author, and she ordered a bunch of her books for my kids, and we've been enjoying them for the last few months. So the storyline of this book, which I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read up until the point where I think it makes sense. I think you guys will really enjoy, because we are, hold on again. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we are gonna learn a lesson from it. So it's called Chaim's Juicy Mistake. And yes, I am about to read you a kid's book as the beginning of our Shaar HaBitachon. Zip, button, tie. There was no time to snooze. Chaim put on his white shirt and his black Shabbos shoes. That could be a better Mora. Can you see it? There we go. Then he skipped down the stairs, feeling super excited, for Shabbos was coming and guests were invited. Bubby and Zadie and kind Mrs. Klein, Rabbi Miller, his son, and the Bacher Zev Stein, plus the neighbors, how do you say that name?
The Wieners.
Wieners. Okay, yeah. Great. Okay, great. The Wieners, and still a few more. Great choice, Rachel Burston. It was just going to be fun. Yes, Chaim was sure. The dining room was spotless. The table, oof, what a sight. The challahs, smelled delicious. His nose twitched with delight. The candlesticks were sparkling. Yes, everything was set. The table was all ready, or was it? Wait, not yet. Chaim rushed to the fridge, threw the door open wide, grabbed the bottle of grape juice from somewhere inside. Then carefully, 1, 2, 3, go. He walked very slowly, but then, oops, oh no! His Shabbos shoes slipped on the shiny waxed floor. With a shriek, and a skid, zoop, he banged into the door. Chaim stumbled and fumbled, but though he was trying, he slipped and he fell, and that grape juice went flying. Bang, crash, and then boom. As it bounced off a chair, plink went the cap, and the juice spritzed everywhere. It gushed from the bottle in a grape-flavored spray, and soon there was juice flowing every which way. The table and chairs were in a deep purple lake. What a sticky and drippy and juicy mistake. So now let's take a pause. For anyone who's a mom, you're probably dying inside. For anyone who's not a mom, you're probably also dying inside. Erev Shabbos, all these guests are coming. This kid with wonderful intentions now literally sprays staining grape juice all over everything. So now let's take a moment and let's process this. Take a second to think about either a mistake that you made or a really struggling situation that you're going through, that you own right now. You're seeing purple grape juice all over the table in whatever aspect of your life you're dealing with. Okay, now let's continue. What was that? What's that noise? Came some shouts from upstairs. Then he heard people running toward the grape juicy chairs. Chaim felt awful. So quickly as he was able, he slid to his feet and hid under the table. Oh no, said his family as they stared in dismay. All our work has been ruined. What made it this way? Now look at that face. That's how I would feel too. It's my fault, whispered Chaim. The grape juice, it spilled. He felt the tears coming. His eyes quickly filled. Now this is the page that we should all take a lesson from. And I've been reading this every night for the last 3 weeks, and I'm taking a lesson from it. Chaim watched as his mother breathed in and then out. He could tell that his mother did not want to shout. He knew she was asking Hashem what to do. Key line right there. But how could she fix this? He hadn't a clue. Right? Yes. This is exactly the reason I brought this book, and I'm beginning Shaar HaBitachon Shir with this book. Now, imagine what she's going through in her head. It is Erev Shabbos, the table was set, everything was ready. This kid with the most beautiful intention was trying to help finish setting up the table, and then he literally sprayed the entire room with grape juice. Sticky, staining grape juice, everywhere, okay? And what does his mother do? Let's read this page one more time. Chaim watched as his mother breathed in and then out. He could tell that his mother did not want to shout. He knew she was asking Hashem what to do, but how could she fix this? He hadn't a clue. Okay, now let's see how she fixes it. Then she opened her eyes and she started to say, mistakes happen to everyone. We're only human. It's okay. There's just one thing to do, and I know we can do it. We need to start cleaning. Come on, let's get to it. It's called mom therapy. I read this every night. In short, I'm not going to read the whole thing. They help them clean up, and then there are plenty of other mistakes that happen that I'm sure you guys can go to the store and buy this beautiful book called Chaim's Juicy Mistake by Rachel Burston. Really, really, really great book. So why did I start Shaar HaBitachon with this story? The reason is, A, because I literally read it every night as a wonderful reminder of how I should be a great mom. And because this mother truly shows us a live demonstration of how it is to live with Hashem in such a real way, that she's able to take a deep breath in such a big struggle. And I don't know I would pass that test. I'll tell you that much. I'll be completely honest. I do not know if I would pass this test. But she was able to take a deep breath in and then out. And what did she do? She was asking Hashem for help. So not only did she have emunah, because she realizes that Hashem is in every situation, Hashem is going to help her, Hashem is there, Hashem is, going to give her clarity. But the fact is she took that emunah and she actually processed it and lived with it and took actions based on this knowledge that Hashem is going to help her and that Hashem is there with her and that Hashem is, whatever just happened, it's because Hashem willed that everything should be purple and sticky and juicy. Does that make sense? So now, in today's shir, we're actually going to discuss, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the last year, we discussed 7 ways that you can truly trust Hashem. Give me 1 second, I need to. Okay, perfect. 7 ways that you can really truly trust Hashem. And throughout those 7 ways, we said, originally we stated it as, these are the 7 ways you can know how to trust someone. Then we realized that Hashem is the only one that truly fits all the categories. And now what we're going to do is we're going to, in the beginning of chapter 3, we're going to take those reasonings, even though they're not listed in the same order, but take those reasonings and now truly understand them for ourselves. And I'll tell you why. Learning Chassidus, learning Torah, has this balance of we have to do things by Kabbalah soul because this is what we have to do. Hashem said we should do it, so therefore we do it. And that's in a certain sense simple faith. That's emunah, knowing that Hashem is there just because we know that Hashem created, Hashem is the master, Hashem is the king, it is, and that's it. And then at the same time, we also, especially the more we learn Chassidus, the more we get to know Hashem. And then the more we take that knowledge into our mind and we process it. And these 2 things, taking Torah just for what it is, and also processing it and understanding it and intaking it, those 2 things work well together. And that's how we can reach the point of being this mom. Because we could be this mom, I'm sure she must have learned beautiful Maimarim and she must have attended some sort of Shaar HaBitachon shir, and it was all really beautiful and dandy. But in order for her to truly internalize it and live in that moment, when this kid sprays grape juice all over her table, and she's able to take a breath in and breath out and turn to Hashem and say, Hashem, you're the one that's going to help me through this, that requires your investment in that knowledge. Going to a nice shir where somebody talks to you, talks at you, it's nice. But for you to take the lessons that we learn and you to process it in your brain and to take it and internalize it and use your rational brain to really grapple with it, that makes it yours. And this is what this chapter is going to do. Our author has given us all the reasonings and has given us all the psukim to prove that all these reasonings are Hashem is going to take care of us, Hashem is going to take care of us. But now he's going to give us the rational behind it. How do we know that Hashem is going to take care of us? How do we make it to the point that it makes absolute sense and there's no other option? Does that make sense? Okay, let's start. Okay, page 58. By the way, there are other books, even open ones in the back. If anybody would like, I can tell we could use another book or 2. Okay, and if there aren't, you can also open one. It's fine. Okay, page 58. In the first part of this chapter, the author lists and elaborates 5 concepts that a person must understand properly and believe. And this is going to be a theme throughout today's class: understanding and believing, in order to have proper trust in Hashem. He then offers 2 reasons as to why Hashem wants a person to make his own effort to obtain his livelihood, right? So if we could trust Hashem, why not? We'll just sit on our couches and Hashem's going to provide. Come on, it's just going to fall from heaven. It'll be beautiful and dandy. That's my perfect way to trust Hashem. But meanwhile, what are we saying here? That Hashem Dafka wants us to work to obtain our livelihood. And how truly righteous people are the exception to this rule and are, generally speaking, not required to make these efforts. The next part of the chapter explains how this tenet fits in with the reality we know as we know of it, where we see that righteous people do go through much hardship in order to obtain their livelihood, as well as why many wicked people have easy and pleasant lives. At the end of the chapter, discusses the ways in which a person should go about choosing an occupation. So for anyone wondering about your job and where you should put your koiches, your strength to go, at the end of this chapter, we're going to discuss it, as well as the attitude he should adopt while involved in his occupation. Okay, so we're not going to discuss all of those in today's class, but just know that they are within this chapter. The 5 factors that obligate trust in Hashem. There are 5 concepts which, when properly understood and realized to be true, will cause a person to have complete trust in Hashem, right? So there are 5 things that, as long as you understand them properly, you'll live with bitachon. And now we're about to learn them. So you came to the perfect class. God exemplifies the qualities that foster trust. The first of them is, although I think we haven't said it yet, but just as a heads up, they're not in the same order as when he gave them in the previous chapter. So the first of them, he must believe and clearly recognize that Hashem possesses all 7 qualities, all of which, when present, enable a person to trust in him. I already mentioned them in the previous chapter and commented on them, citing psukim that were available to me, which state that Hashem possesses these qualities. Now, let's take a moment and let's follow the asterisk on page 58. So the full asterisk over there. So now we said we have to believe and clearly recognize. A person believes because of the scriptural verse that support the propositions, right? So he says, and Hashem can create. And then he brings the pasuk, Bereshis bara Elokim, Hashem created, right? So now we understand that these are we can believe it just because it says so in the Torah. In the Torah, it says Bereshis bara Elokim, so therefore we know we can believe. We know that Hashem created, and so therefore we can believe that Hashem creates. So that's number 1, he believes. And he recognizes it when it is dictated by rational thinking, right? So one thing is that we believe and we just trust, and the other one is that we can process it with our brain. And because we rationally think about it, we're able to recognize it. The verses were cited in the previous chapter. In this chapter, the author approaches these principles from a logical perspective. Hasidism teaches that a man's comprehension of Hashem can happen in 2 manners: belief, which is emunah, and rational comprehension, which is seichel or chabad, with each method having a distinct quality over the other, right? So we can have both. We could have emunah, or we could understand it with our chabad. And each one has a pro and a con, so to speak. The superior quality of rational comprehension is its resonance. The person mentally processes it and relates to it on a personal level, right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to actually connect to what we're learning. The disadvantage of rational comprehension is its limitations to human intellect, which will not and cannot always process the infinite truth of Hashem. I don't know if you've learned some of the deeper Maimarim, whichever Rebbe is writing it usually tries to give some sort of example. It's kind of like this, and it's kind of like this, and it's kind of like this. And at the end of it all, it's like, well, we know we can't truly understand it. Like we try and understand it with our brain, but we know we can't truly understand it. So that's one of the downsides. If we think that understanding Hashem just fits in our brain and that's it, the amount that fits in my brain is the amount that exists. So we've missed it because we're limited by our own intellect. The superior quality of belief lies in our connection with the deepest truths of Hashem, even if we cannot understand them. It is simply an innate, unquestionable belief. The disadvantage of faith alone is its failure to constantly dictate our actions, right? So even though Well, let me finish the sentence first. Fair actions, because we don't fully comprehend it, it remains a latent belief that does not necessarily surface as real action, right? So if we were to learn and sit down and just discuss the qualities of Hashem, or the spheres, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, and all the worlds, Atzilus and Bria and Yetzirah, and we don't actually take a moment and internalize these concepts, we could learn them and then walk off, and not Chas v'Shalom any of us, but some people could learn them, walk off, and go have pork because they didn't connect. There's belief, and then there's rational understanding, and just having one over or the other is not going to really take us to real action. Chabad philosophy emphasizes nurturance of both of these methods. The more we understand of Hashem and relate to him on an intimate level, the more we can strengthen our belief, allowing us to connect to Hashem through belief on the highest levels of his existence. Belief in Hashem does not automatically generate a trust in him, because faith can be detached with no bearing on how we feel or act. Trust, on the other hand, means we place all of our concerns into Hashem's hands. It's an action that we take, and it's maybe not an action with our hands, but it's an action with our attitude. Just knowing that Hashem is there and he's mighty and great doesn't necessarily translate into, that struggle I'm really dealing with, I can pass that on to him. Hashem's going to take care of it. It's two separate actions. Does that make sense? We can learn and learn and learn about Hashem, and it could stay abstract. But for us to take an action and say, I will turn my struggles, I will turn my shock when I see my kids spraying grape juice all over the place, and I will actually turn to Hashem at that point, that's just two separate things. Does that make sense? Okay. The difference can be understood in light of the statement of our sages. A burglar at the mouth of the tunnel calls upon Hashem. Indeed, he prays to Hashem for help, having faith that he is the Almighty. But the fact that he has resorted to thievery proves that he does not trust in Hashem. He does not trust Hashem in his personal life, right? So he is in the midst of stealing, which means he didn't truly trust Hashem to say, wow, Hashem, you can take care of my parnasa. But he trusts Hashem to save him out of getting caught from stealing, right? It can turn into two separate entities. Okay, back to our regular text on page 59. Okay, the author will now review the 7 qualities. It should be noted that in this chapter, they are not listed in the same order as in the previous chapter. Okay. The first quality, the Creator, may he be blessed, has more compassion on a person than any other compassionate being. I left my... Can you pass me a sitter, please? I actually wanted to bring my sitter and show something. There's a beautiful reminder in your Shachar's davening of this every single day. Where is it? Here we go. Loibik veras hasus yichpatz loy beshuke haish yirtze. It's in the second halakha. So it's Ashrei, then the first halakha, or even this one, for example. Al tiftachu bin divim bevein adam she'ein leis yeshua. Right? So any chesed that we get from a person essentially is coming from Hashem. Any compassion, any kindness, don't turn looking for kindness and trusting it in someone else or someone else. because at the end of the day, any kindness that comes is because of Hashem. And it could be done through two ways, which we'll see over here. In fact, any compassion and mercy that a person receives from anyone else ultimately comes from Hashem's compassion and mercy, because he is the one who stirs in the heart of that other person mercy and compassion towards him, right? So even when someone else is compassionate and is sweet and is nice to you, essentially it's because Hashem wanted that person to be nice to you. Hashem wanted, and that's beautiful. Don't take away the credit of the person. It's a very beautiful thing that they did it. But at the end of the day, have in mind that not to trust the compassion of anyone else, only trust Hashem's compassion, even when sometimes it comes through other shluchim, so to speak, of Hashem. As the pasuk says, and he will grant you compassion and be compassionate with you and multiply you. Okay, page 60. 1 second, let me make sure I didn't. Oh, 1 second. I was meant to tell a story. I missed something. Okay, good. We're good on time. Okay.
That what you just said, that passage. So I was talking to someone last night and telling her how when someone does something for someone else, it's because Hashem orchestrated it. You know, that Hashem wants it. I said, I think I learned it in Shaar HaBitachon.
Yay!
So she said, if you can find it, could you please take a picture of it and send it to me?
That's so beautiful. Wow. I heard once, I'm trying to remember where from, but it's quoted from the Baal Shem Tov. I'm trying to remember where from. That if you learn something and it keeps resonating, like you hear it several times, it means it's a really, truly powerful message that you're living with in your life. So it's really beautiful. You heard it last night, you were living with last night, and then you see it.
I wasn't 100% sure if it was in Shaar HaBitachon, but I said, I have a feeling it's in Shaar.
That's amazing. So now you know it's on page 59 of this white book. Baruch Hashem. Woo! Okay, so now I have this really, really beautiful book called In the Trenches. Is written by Michal and Naama Oishi. I don't know how to say their name, I apologize. But they are actually on Shlichus, and they wrote a book about their history. It's called In the Trenches, Stories from the Front Lines of Jewish Life in Russia. So it's not just Jewish life back then, but they also speak about their current Shlichus in Russia right now. So I wanted to, that's not the right page. They are in Kaluga, Russia. Oh man, where is it? I wrote the wrong page number. Sorry, guys. Okay, it's fine. I can't find it. I'll save it for later. Okay, so now we're on page 60 of this book for anyone who just joined. Shaar HaBitachon. Okay, top of page 60, right? So the second quality. The second quality, a person must believe that the ways that benefit the person are not hidden from the Creator, may he be exalted. In fact, logic dictates that only Hashem knows what is best for the person, as follows, right? So meaning it's not hidden from him, meaning Hashem has the full access to all the knowledge. He knows exactly when everything's going to work out. He knows exactly how everything's going to work out, and it's not hidden from him. Even, for example, when you go to a mashpia or a therapist and you ask for advice, they can give you the advice that they think is best, but that's truly based on the amount of knowledge that they have. They don't have the full extent of what's going to be in the end. And so knowing that Hashem truly knows all aspects of it, he knows the ins and outs and everything and how everything's going to work out all in the end. It's all going to be beautiful, like the beautiful tile tied bow at the end of the present, right? Like everything's going to be a beautiful bow. So he knows about it. And logic can even show this to you, can prove this to you. Logic dictates this because the person is one of Hashem's handiwork, and there is no one, and there is no one who knows better what is beneficial or harmful for that which can be made, which he has made. Sorry, let me start that sentence again. Logic dictates this because the person is one of Hashem's handiwork, and there is no one who knows better what is beneficial or harmful for that which which has been made, as well as the troubles that may catch hold of it, the ways in which he becomes ill as well as healed, than the one who created it. That's an interesting, very long sentence, but in short, what it actually means is, when I make something, I have a much better understanding of the benefits and the pitfalls of this thing that I've created. So for example, last year, my son really wanted to do a really cool menorah for his Tzivos Hashem menorah contest. And we kept trying to figure out what should we use it, like what should we use to make it, and he had some money because he when he says Tehillim, we give him a bit of money for all the psukim that he says or whatever. Now it's Tanya Baal Peh and Mishnayos Baal Peh and whatever. So he had a bit of money. So he's like, Mommy, I want to buy myself a tub of clay. So I'm like, okay, sure, go right ahead. So he bought himself a tub of clay and he started masterfully putting this menorah together. And Kanai Nahara, it was really, really beautiful. But again, he was 8 at the time, right? No, he was 7 at the time. That was last year. He was 7 at the time, and he wanted to make this ginormous menorah, and he didn't fully understand that the clay won't hold up if you do it like this and then expect it to dry like that. So basically he woke up and they were like, yes. So then the next day he tried again. And this time I gave him this idea to maybe skewer sticks through it. So at least they would hold, and maybe try and put it to dry laying flat. So at least it'll dry straight. But the weight of it didn't quite hold, and he picked it up and they all went yet again. So through this trial and error, Baruch Hashem, he kept learning and learning. At the end, he ended up making something not with clay, because it was a lot of trial and error. But the point is that he learned the strengths and weaknesses of this artwork that he made. He learned at what point it's going to crack. And therefore, he tried to figure out what are the ways to remedy that. How can we fix it? How can we keep it straight? How can we? So too with you. The things that you make, whether it's your food or whether it's, something that you've created, you know best what could be the pros, like what could be the benefits of this, how it could work really well, and what are the possible Achilles heel, so to speak. What could break this? What could destroy this thing that I made? Now, Hashem made you, Hashem made me, Hashem made the table and the whole wide world. I should write the next, Hashem is truly everywhere. And he would know what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. What are the things that could bring out the best in us, and what are the things that could truly break us, defeat us. And being that he knows that, he can make a judgment, so to speak, on what is the best way to provide us with the things that we need. It doesn't feel that way sometimes because you're like, I can't take this, I'm about to break. But he created you and he knows exactly how you work, even better than you. Okay, to be continued. Let's go. If this principle, a creator knows better than anyone else what is good for the creation, applies even to a person who creates something, all the more so must it apply to Hashem, the true creator of all beings. if we find this to be true regarding objects made by human beings who do not actually create anything, or at least not anything new, through their creations, other than the external form of the raw material, and who have no skill or power to create the raw material itself, then all the more so must it be true regarding Hashem, who creates the raw material itself, from which the person is made, as well as his form and his composite. Is that how you say it? Composite. And the orderly unit of the body and soul, as well, and the orderly unity of the body and soul, as well as the interaction between the various bodily parts. Let's take a moment and read that asterisk. His composite. Is that how you say it? Composite? Okay. His composite, which means his anatomy and his talents. So not only did he make you flesh, and he knows exactly how your blood vessels work and your immune system, and the process of switching oxygen and oxygenating the blood and all this good stuff, right? He knows, and he runs it, and he created it. But he also gave you your personality. He gave you the nature of your neshama. He gave you the nature of your nefesh habahamis and the things that it wants and it strives for and it seeks. And he gave you your struggles. So now let's continue. It therefore follows that he is most definitely the wise one who knows what will benefit the person and what will harm him, and what is good for him, both in this world and in the world to come. So let's take a moment and process that. Right? So Hashem created you, and he created every aspect of you, both begashmis, beruchnis, emotional, psychological, your struggles, all of that. He knows you even better than you know yourself. Like, let's just be honest. Raise your hand if you actually know how, what's your platelet count right now? Exactly. Right. He does. He knows exactly what's going on in your head. He knows exactly what your struggles are. He knows exactly how good you are at insert whatever is you're incredible talented at. And he also knows that sometimes you struggle with insert that thing you struggle with, right? And therefore, we can trust, because he's the only one that knows. So we can trust that whatever he is giving us is actually for our better. It's actually for our good, both in this world and in the world to come. So let's take a moment and look at that asterisk. What will benefit the person, what will harm him, and what is good for him, both in this world and in the world to come. So the Pas Lechem explains that what will benefit the person, what will harm him, refers to what is good and bad in the moment. Well, what is good for him, both in this world and in the world to come, refers to the long-term good with which Hashem takes care of the person. So now, not only does he know you so well, he knows you better than you know yourself. And everything he's giving you right now in this present moment and up until this present moment is exactly as it's meant to be. Every aspect of your life right now is exactly as it's meant to be. And not only that, but every aspect of your life in the upcoming days, years, whatever, lifetime is exactly as it's meant to be as well. I will say, I'll take a little pause, because this is nice and we have to live with this mindset. But I will remind everyone that as Jews, we are given an incredible tool. And for everyone who doesn't yet have this, this is the book that we gave out this past for Hey Tavis for the SAI. And one point that I really, really enjoy about this book is that he speaks about one of the chapters, he speaks about how to daven. Rav Dov Ber-Pinson. Yes, he's a shliach. It's called Illuminated Sound.
I'm getting it.
Rav Dov Ber Pinson. Yeah, he's a shliach in Guanas here in Brooklyn. Yes. If you haven't picked up any of his other books, I think this is a wonderful first. Sometimes he goes very lofty and he's very up there, and this is very grounded and really, really, really well done. Also, Rachi Pinson his wife has spoken for us in the past, so shout out to her. So basically he's bringing in how to daven from the Baal Shem Tov's perspective, and basically what's the difference. He doesn't say it this way, but what is the chiddush of the Baal Shem Tov's perspective on davening? And one of the things he speaks about is shuckling, this concept of shuckling during davening, right? And the Baal Shem Tov actually explains that when we shuckle during davening, we have two attitudes. One is that we bend forward and say, Hashem, whatever you're giving me right now is exactly as it's meant to be, right? What we're learning now. We have to have that mindset. Where I'm standing or sitting is exactly where I'm meant to be sitting, with the struggles I have, with the strengths that I have, with the traumas that I've been through, with the stress that it's currently weighing down on my shoulders. That's exactly where I'm meant to be. And I bow my head down and say, Hashem, I understand you're in charge. You're taking care of me. And this is exactly how I'm meant to be. And then we rise up. And what's rising up is turning to Hashem and say, yes, but send me better. I'm ready to receive. I'm asking for more. And this is the game we play, so to speak, we play during davening. We say, yes, Hashem, everything you're giving me is exactly as it's meant to be. Hashem, please give me more. Please make it better. Please make it easier. Please bring Mashiach. Please save me from this struggle, right? Shuckling. That's the chassidus behind it. Isn't that beautiful?
I have two questions.
Go for it.
First of all, the Bahamas are not big shucklers, right? But they do shuckle.
Yes.
Not the, maybe, here we see people in the Yeshiva world, whatever, they really would, take it. When the Rebbe was davening, we didn't see much movement, right? Like
right.
Maybe, okay, so it's a different neshama and whatever. Okay? I have to tell you that once there was in 770, this was like in the 60s, where they sent spies, actual spies from Russia. They were looking for certain Hasidim that had, I guess whatever. They were looking, they knew what they were looking for. They figured out that they were spies because they were not shuffling when they were davening. And
wow.
the Rebbe said something like, someone said something in Yiddish, I think it was the Rebbe who said, get out. Like, and they left something.
Wow.
What?
They came cat.
Yes. They came to America. They came to America. Of course not.
They would be like 30 kids.
What? They were looking.
Wow. That is, now that's a story.
It was scary.
And because they were shuckling.
They were not shuckling. They saw that they realized that they were spies.
Whoa. That is a great story. Thank you for sharing. Yes. And it's funny because one of the things he says is that he discusses the chassidus behind a lot of different aspects, how to hold your hands and at what point to shuckle. And throughout the whole chapter, he basically says, that said, the whole point of davening is for you to cleave to Hashem. And if you're thinking about the shuckling, you're missing the point of connecting to Hashem. So he said, I'm giving you the information, but you need to, whatever you feel during your davening, that's what you need to do at that point in time. And I spoke about this, I think, at one of the Farbrengens before, that one of the concepts that he said, and I really resonates with me, is to be flexible with our davening. Just because the shuckling made me very inspired yesterday, doesn't mean that I have to shuckle the exact same way today, and today's going to make me inspired. Sometimes I feel inspired by it, and sometimes I don't feel inspired by it. So like being flexible and saying, okay, my goal in this davening is to connect to Hashem. Sometimes there's shuckling, sometimes there's not, sometimes there's, singing out loud, and sometimes I have to do it quietly. And whatever it is that your neshama feels at that point, That's a beautiful davening in of itself, as long as the goal is, I want to connect to Hashem. Does that make sense?
We don't really think about it.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't think, oh,
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So he was trying to say, don't get stuck on the either shakal or not shakal. Don't think about it. And for many people, it does end up happening. Like just on its own, you get into a rhythm. Sometimes people go side to side, sometimes people don't at all, and that's perfectly fine. So whatever it is that you're doing at that time that helps your neshama connect to Hashem at that point is beautiful and fine. So don't take it as a restrictive, I have to, and whatever. But it was just very interesting that we can learn a lesson from the shuckling. Time? Okay, great. Okay, so we are on page 61. We're on page 61. 2 verses are quoted to support this, right? So what's this? The fact that Hashem takes care of us. Hashem knows us better than even ourselves, and everything he's giving to us right now is exactly as it's meant to be. So there are 2 psukim to support this. As it says, I am the Lord your God who teaches you for your benefit, who leads you by the way you should go. And as it says, for the Lord rebukes the one he loves as a father placates a son. Now let's take a moment. Let's see the asterisk on the bottom. Who teaches you for your benefit, who leads you by the way you should go. The first part of the pasuk refers to the ways in which Hashem takes care of the specific needs that benefit the person at any given time. The second part refers to the ways in which Hashem takes care of the person in a more general sense. And we have both. Literally every ounce of your being. The fact that this particular freckle is exactly here, Hashem decided and put it there because he wants it there because it has a reason and purpose to be there. The details, the minuscule little details, Hashem works in those details. And at the same time, Hashem runs the entire world. That tiny freckle in some random person in Singapore right now is also there for a specific reason for them. And Hashem is able to do all of them all at the same time. That's incredible. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is also non-Jews get individual attention, or it's just like
It's a very good question. I'm trying to think because I've definitely learned this, but I don't know if I have it off the top of my head. So I'm gonna look it up so I have a better answer, and I'll bring it next time. Yeah, so thank you. It's a very good question. The question was, do non-Jews also have specific, I guess, hashgacha pratis, specific? It's a good question. I know I've learned it, but I would rather prepare it better and present it properly. Okay, so now going back to the main text on page 61. And as it says, for the Lord rebukes the one he loves as a father placates a son. The second pasuk is quoted as support for the concept that even seemingly bad things are also ultimately for our benefit. Since Hashem loves us, he sometimes needs to rebuke us. Okay, the third quality. The Creator, may he be blessed, is stronger than any other strong being. That his word is more unchangeable than any other person's words, and no one can reverse his decisions. No one can prevent Hashem from carrying out his decisions. Hashem decides that something's gonna happen. There is no one that's gonna. Well, our davening could help, but in essence, Hashem can still pass through that and say, there's not going to be someone stopping Hashem. No, you can't do that because I said so. Okay, So being that Hashem is the strongest, which is one of the things we discussed in previous chapters about we can trust him because he is the strongest person. If we were to trust Even if you guys trust me, I mean, there's going to be a big person that could also stop me. I'm very little. So essentially, yeah, exactly. Even with Krav Maga, I don't know. I'm still pretty little. So Hashem, there is no one stronger or bigger or, than Hashem. Okay. 2 psukim are quoted to support this. As it says, all that the Lord wishes, he did. And as it says, so shall be my word that emanates from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty unless it has done what I desire. Exactly. It doesn't just, Hashem doesn't, for mothers out here, I'm sure we've dealt with this, or even teachers. Like when you get into a really hard rut in parenting and you don't follow through with what you've been saying, and so therefore you say something and the kids just keep playing, guys, dinner, and it goes in one ear and out the other, right? So those words have gone out of your mouth into the world, and then they came back with no result. Your kids are still playing Legos, did not notice a word that you said. And then we work on our parenting. Follow through, guys. Follow through and be careful what you say. Make sure don't use words that you're not going to follow through with. But anyway, so yes, even the most wonderful, beautiful parents with the most wonderful, beautiful kids, sometimes words go out and they don't accomplish nothing. They just become background noise behind everybody's playing, right? But with Hashem's word, Hashem says, create, done. It's created. Hashem's words never come back empty-handed. They always fulfill the promise that they were sent to make, right? Hashem says create, they create. Hashem says jump, they jump. That's how it works. Okay. The first pasuk is quoted to show how Hashem has the power to do anything he decides. He is stronger than any other strong beings. While the second pasuk is quoted to show that when Hashem decides something, it cannot be reversed, and his word is more unchangeable, etc. Now we're on page 62. The fourth quality, Hashem supervises the governance of all people. He does not forsake them. Rather, he helps them with all of their needs. He does not ignore them when they are in a time of hardship, nor are any of their matters concealed from him, whether it be small or big, nor does his being involved in one matter cause him to forget about another matter. So I think we discussed this in the previous chapter. I know we discussed it in the previous chapters, but this whole idea that many people struggle at either finding a mashpia or at keeping up with a mashpia because we have a worry that for whatever reason, we're going to take up too much time, or they're too busy, or they're going to forget about something. We spoke to them and they forgot to follow through with it. And again, everyone should get a mashpia, and whoever has the talent to be a mashpia, the Rabbi actually made a mitzvah once saying, if you're meant to be a mashpia, do it. Do your job as a mashpia. So go ahead and do it. But even with all of that, we don't have those excuses with Hashem. Hashem is not going to forget about us. Hashem is not too busy for us. Hashem doesn't have so many worries on his shoulders that he just can't handle our worry. Hashem is fully capable of doing all of those things. And when the time comes and you need to turn to him, none of those excuses work for him. He's able to take care of you. He knows everything you need, exactly how you need it. He has the time for you and the love for you and the care for you. And he's not going to forget about you because he's busy with the wars in Russia. Isn't that amazing? Yep. That's exactly. You got it. That's Das, by the way. That's beautiful. Perfect. Thank you for saying that. It shows you got it. You've been thinking about it. It's perfect. So now I think we're going to stop over here. Oh, no, actually, no, 1 second. Let me give the two psukim to support this, and then we're going to stop by here, and then we're going to take a moment and really process what we've been saying. So the two verses are quoted to support this. As it says, why should you say, O Yaakov, and speak, O Israel, my way has been hidden from the Lord, and from my God, my judgment passes. So let's explain what this means. In this verse, the prophet reproaches the Jewish people for complaining that Hashem does not supervise them and does not meet, right? Met? How do you say that? Meet?
I don't know.
Met out justice? Meet out justice? Okay. It does not meet or met out justice to their enemies. And the following pasuk, Hashem responds, do you not know if you have not heard? An everlasting God is the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth. He neither tires nor wearies. There is no fathoming his understanding. Since Hashem is the creator of the ends of the earth, he certainly knows everything that happens to his creations. The words, he neither tires nor wearies, are cited as support that his involvement in one matter does not cause him to forget another. Right? Yes, exactly. So now, take a moment, think about your personal struggle that you're going through, and take a moment and process. You can turn to Hashem and ask for help, because he knows you. He knows exactly what you need. He knows exactly how to help you. He has the power. He is the strongest. I can't even say being. He is Hashem, the strongest Hashem. And he will not ignore you. He does not have too many big things over yonder, like COVID and stuff. He can take care of you. He can take care of every aspect of you, even with the greatest, hugest situations that are going on in the world, and he will take care of you.
So our little issues are more important than people starving or suffering.
I can't say they're more important, but
that doesn't take away the.
Correct. It does not take away from him. It's not like for us, we have priorities. We have a certain amount of time in our day, and we have to prioritize what's most important and then what's least important. And therefore, we organize our time, hopefully. Unlike some of us who get priorities all messed up. But anyway, the goal in our life is hopefully to prioritize and do the most important things and then go down the line. For Hashem, they're all important. And he doesn't get his energy expended with other things. He is equally able to take care of the politics and everything that's happening over yonder and the child that's, I don't know, struggling with food in Asia or whatever. And he's also able to care for you and exactly what you're dealing with. And he does not get tired of it. He's able to take care of everything. Yes, it is. So, Chaim, we should all see Hashem in every aspect of our life. And I'm going to finish off with what I started. I want to give a bracha that all of us, we should be able to deal with our struggles, just like this beautiful mommy in this book dealt with her struggles. As you can see, the grape juice flying and all that jazz. And this mommy was able to say, wait, wrong page. Here we go. Chaim watched as his mother breathed in and then out. He could tell that his mother did not want to shout. He knew she was asking Hashem what to do, but how could she fix this? He hadn't a clue, right? I bench all of us. Even with our struggles, we should have the clarity to turn to Hashem and say, Hashem, please help me. If it takes a breath in and out, take your breath in and out.
Amen.
Share
found someone that today is his first birthday.
Yes.
Avraham Michael Ben Yaakov Shimon Halevi. Today.
Okay, one second. Let me today's shir is Leilei Nishmas for someone's first yurtzeit, and his name is Avraham Michael Ben Yaakov Shimon Halevi Flint. Okay, Shavan Elias and Neshama, and all of his family should be blessed with only revealed good, and may we all be reunited with our loved ones right now with the coming of Mashiach. Wow, thanks guys for coming. Okay, yes, the horses.